everybody. Welcome back to Heath Barn Hoopcast. This is episode 6. This episode was recorded this past Sunday. It was a live podcast from Riggs Brewery with former Illini TJ Wheeler. It was prior to the Illinois Northwestern game, so a lot of fans in there listening. I want to thank Riggs. I'm really enjoying our setup we have there. The room we're in, it's a smaller room that put up a curtain, put out a speaker, so everybody in the main area can hear it. The first people that request to sit in there with us get to sit in on the pod and ask questions, things like that. So it was a lot of fun doing one live, and I'm looking forward to doing a lot more stuff with Riggs because it's so far so good out there with them. So the actual episode with TJ was a ton of fun. If you know TJ, he's got strong opinions. We talk about the current Illini team. We talk about, I play a game, will they transfer or not? So that's a fun game. We'll see how he does on that a year from now. We'll see how he does. But he tells Lou Henson stories. He tells recruiting stories. He rips on a couple former Illini that are still playing college basketball, and we get laughs out of that. But my son gets to ask a question. The fans that were in there sitting down and sitting in there listening to the episode in the room with us get to ask a couple questions. So it was just a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. Again, I really appreciate him coming on, and I'm sure I'll do some more stuff with him in the future because he's always entertaining. So I want to thank Riggs for letting us come in and looking forward to next time with them. I want to thank TJ for coming on. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Here we go. All right, everybody. We are live at Riggs Brewery, and I am here with former Illini TJ Wheeler. How's it going, buddy?
Very good, thank you.
Yes. This is a neat little setup. This place is very nice. We've got a little crowd here. TJ gave me a long list of questions that are not allowed to be asked beforehand. Just kidding. So, but we're really happy to be here. And should we just get right into it? I was going to ask you one thing too before we started. I think I just said it a minute ago, but I don't know when I'll put this one out. But I had Kwan Garris a few days ago, and how many years did you play with him?
He was a freshman when I was a senior.
Right.
So.
Because we were going through his former teammates, and he mentioned you, and he was talking about how he used to go in there and wake him up, and mess with them all, like go in there like 4 a.m. and wake him up and everything before workouts and all that kind of stuff. And so he was talking about all his former teammates, but
yeah, him and Hester learned to lock their doors within the first couple months. And that was about me just getting home and telling them let's go work out.
That's right. Yeah. Why don't we just go ahead and jump into this current squad kind of and what your thoughts are, where we're at right now with everything.
Okay, you start off with the good tough questions right off the bat.
We could go through like the individual players after, but just like right now the way things are kind of going.
The bad part for me is, and probably every fan out there, you're going to sit back. I truly believe you're going to sit back this season, and we could take right now, January 26th or whatever today is, and do the woulda, coulda, shouldas.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 things. You don't lose at home.
Right.
And we've already lost 3 games at home. When we left the locker room, the saying was you win them all in the hall. And then, obviously, you don't go to Evanston and let them beat you. So, I mean, there's 4 losses that you think that, no, that shouldn't happen. And the only team in my eyes that really, Alabama beat us.
Right.
They were a little better that day. They beat us. I don't think we play them on a neutral site here, March. I think it's going to be a great game.
Yeah.
But the other, that just shouldn't happen.
Right, I agree. I think that big picture right now, everybody's, and it's just kind of weird because they've had these big, like, kind of blowouts on the road with a couple teams. But then, Ivisic has mono, like KJ missed a couple games. You get kind of screwed at Michigan State, shocker. But it's like at the same time, your record is what it is right now, and you got to start winning games, because everybody's saying how our ceiling's so high and we got to raise the floor. But when you're 5-4 in the Big Ten, you just need to start. You got to start going. If you end up maybe 10-8, get in the tournament, hope everything's clicking at the right time. I feel like the expectations went from winning the Big Ten and stuff like that to now it's like we got to start bearing down and getting wins.
And that's their problem. You hear, and I've said it. Hey, this team is a Final Four team, but hell, you can't get to the Final Four if you don't get to the tournament.
That's exactly what I was
So it comes down to, hey, I get the flu bug comes around and you hurt this or that, but take the USC game. Could KJ have really played or not?
Right.
And you hear Brad come out and say, well, I'm doing what is in his best interest for his future. Well, that ain't my best interest right now, trying to win the Big Ten.
Yeah.
If he could have played.
Do you think, who they beat without him the game before? Okay.
Penn State.
Right, and they looked great. Do you think that, I felt like that USC game, I didn't feel very good about that game going into it because it's almost like they felt like, well, we played really good without him, and this is USC, and they're down a little bit, so we can get through this game without him too, and boom, that's why you can't take anything for granted at all, especially in the Big Ten, but...
And it sounds like they didn't even do their same pregame ritual or anything like that. They didn't have no team breakfast, no team shoot around, anything like that. So I'm guaranteeing you, some of them got right out of bed and went right to Assembly Hall. Mm-hmm. And you can't. You just don't do that in the Big Ten.
Yeah, they looked like they were out at camp till about 2 a.m. too the night before. The way they played that game at 11 o'clock.
And that's what I went to bed. Maryland game at half. She goes, "What are you doing here?" I go, "Because it looks just like USC. We're not going to win." So I'm watching Eastern Illinois, and I turned the Eastern Illinois game on. That was on ESPNU.
Yeah, but Northwestern, that's the thing, it's the schedule, and you let one get away there, so you got to get one back, but you can't be an elite team and just have losses like that, if you want to get to where you want to get. But so today it's like revenge game. I don't think it's a revenge game. You already messed up at Northwestern, so let's just.
Hey, today's a must-win game. There's no doubt about that. They have to win today, even without the center. It's a must-win game.
Yeah. Because 6-4 and 5-5 is a big
major difference.
Yeah. Let's kind of go down the list here because I haven't talked to you since our new squad started playing. So, what are your thoughts? Let's just start with KJ. What are your thoughts on him overall?
I think there's a lot of positives, and then there's a lot of negatives. The positive is the kid can take over a game at any moment, and that's on the offense and probably defensive side of the game. Just looked at 3 or 4 minutes. He came back with Michigan State. Mm-hmm. We were down 8, and then his 3 minutes we played were down 2, and he was part of all 6 points.
Right.
But then again, if you look at the Maryland game, he just comes down and dribbles it off his foot, or he throws it in the third row, or he has some turnovers that hurt us bad.
Yeah.
And you got to grow out of that, and he hasn't yet. I mean, he had to have 7 or 8 turnovers against Maryland, and you can't. Right. You're a top 5 pick. You don't do that.
Yeah.
But I do at any moment. Indiana game, he can take over a game.
Yeah. I think a lot of that. He's just awful young, but at the same time, and he'll be gone after this year most likely. But man, it'd be nice. Just get polished for one more year, but that's not how this is going to work probably. But I think he's fun, but he's young and he's got the ball in his hands a lot, so there's some inconsistency there. What do you think of Boswell?
I like him. He's a big physical guard. He knows how to use his body on the offensive end, which is good. He knows how to fight through picks on the defensive end. I think Kylan's confidence goes up and down, and he misses a lot of layups. He gets to the hole a lot and misses a lot of crippies. Mm-hmm. But at Michigan State, did he really need to throw it to the big guy? No, but I don't know where his confidence is because Michigan State had blocked 2 or 3 of his layups. Mm-hmm. So is he thinking this guy's coming out of nowhere, going to get me again? Let me give it up. And it's just 3-point shooting is up and down. But when he scores 14, 15 points a game, there's not a lot of teams going to beat us.
Right. Let's go. How about Trey White?
Early in the Big Ten, I'm thinking here was our missing piece. Now he is missing.
Now he's just
missing. To me, he's what hopefully Ty Rodgers is next year.
Yeah.
He's Ty Rodgers, but with a jump shot.
Right.
And that's why I think Ty redshirted is to work on his jump shot, work on my 3-point shot. He can defend. He's strong. All them little things.
Yeah.
But hey, he's not been around the last couple games. And
right.
It looked like he was sick against Maryland.
Yeah.
But you wasn't against Michigan State unless you didn't tell nobody.
Right.
But the way he started, I'm like, all right, this is what we needed.
Yeah.
Okay, now you need to come back to the Big Ten.
Right. Okay, so you're talking about Ty Rodgers, so this is a little off. But so you think he's?
I think he's coming back. I think he understood on how he plays the game the last 3 years that you weren't going to get on the court. You got to score.
Right.
And and what I always told people, how Purdue defended us last year at Purdue with Ty. They put Zach Edey on him.
Yeah, 4 and 5. Basically.
The rest of the year, everybody else did that. If Purdue don't expose Ty, we might be, even a little win more games.
Yeah.
And then, and I didn't even watch the game, how Purdue probably just defended the 2 big Michigan kids.
Mm-hmm.
Just got exposed.
Yeah.
Now everybody's going to defend Michigan like this because they just ran them out at Purdue.
Yeah.
So Ty, I would hope he's an Illini for life.
Yeah.
And he understands what he needed to work on. And,
right.
and he's still in every game. You watch him on the sidelines, he's on and cheering them on. And I'm thinking if he checked himself out, he would have checked himself out and went to another school.
Right. We talked about this a little bit this past summer when we talked, though. Like, there are videos of Ty Rodgers in high school just draining threes. So it's like the mentality of high school to college and this, I feel like sometimes these kids, they get put in a little bit of a box, like, okay, because there's other kids that can shoot better, so now you need to focus on, your defensive stopper, like they get put in this label or whatever, but there's something mentally, obviously, that he was going through last year shooting the ball, but you don't go from a decent high school scorer, and even like his freshman year, to like Dennis Rodman, where you just will not shoot outside of 5 feet. That's something that's going on there mentally. So, how do you think that happens? Like,
it's confidence. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's tough to explain because, and I'll give you a prime example. Rest in peace, rest his soul. Mark Davidson was a teammate of mine in Illinois for a couple of years, and he came from Aurora Christian. And, Mark probably averaged 30 points a game in high school. And I remember one of the years, Coach Henson decided we should go to Russia, not Italy, which I'm still trying to figure out what he thought looked better on the map than those 2 places.
Maybe he just saw Rocky IV.
Yeah. So, but Mark we played like 10 games in Russia, and he just killed people. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. And he was 6'6", 6'7", chiseled, loved it. But when Mark got in front of 15,000 people, your inside, your whole body changes.
Yeah.
And Mark couldn't play. And I remember he transferred down and had a great year and went overseas. But, there's a prime example that it's tough for me to explain. Like, when we go back to a game and Illinois is on a 7-8-0 run, and she'll say, what are you doing? I say, if I get that rebound, I'm coming down and pulling it because I know this place is about to erupt. And as a player, that's what you want.
Yeah.
But sometimes your adrenaline is going. I could shoot it from one side and damn near hit someone in the first row on the other because I threw it so far.
Yeah.
Because your adrenaline, it's just tough to explain what your body goes through, and Mark's body couldn't adjust to it.
Yeah.
And he would kill people in practice. Nobody could stop him in practice.
Yeah.
But he got in the game, he wasn't close.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's what Ty kind of goes through. I guarantee you Ty's killing everybody in practice right now.
Yeah.
Just when he gets in front of that game and 15,000, especially at home, you would think he'd be a little better. But on the road, your body just goes through some things. And, your worst fear is shooting an air ball on the road.
Right.
Because you're going to hear about it the next 39 minutes.
Right. I just kind of think of it as, in other sports, I just kind of call it the yips, man. I just think he kind of got the yips last year. He just wouldn't, because, man, it was just nothing but driving to the basket, and that was it. And if a wide open 15-footer, just hit 2 or 3 of them, and then they got to come out a little bit, just never would shoot it. But I love him, though. He plays his butt off, so I hope that, I do hope he stays. But before we're done here, too, I'm going to name these guys. We're going to revisit it in about 6 months. I'm going to be like, I'm going to say, do they transfer? Yes or no? And you're going to tell me each one. Okay. Now, let's go to Thomas Love. What do you think of him?
I like that kid. I think, KJ's good, Kylan's good. We talk about all these guys are good, but for us to get to the Final Four, he's your key.
Yeah.
He's got take. The first half of the Arkansas game, he was so involved. The Penn State game, at Indiana, he's so more involved in some games than some of these other games are. And you take that Indiana game, that first half and second half, we ran plays through him.
Yeah.
And I think we have to run plays through him for us to get to I don't know if we can win the Big Ten now, make it respectable now.
Yeah.
Go do what Brad does, win the Big Ten tournament, and try to sneak out a 1 or 2 seed.
Yeah.
But it comes through the big guy. He
Yeah.
stays involved and active. We're tough to beat.
Right. Do you think we shoot too many threes?
Nah.
Okay.
It's that's how Brad wants to play. He gets up and down, and I can say that probably because with us leading the nation in offensive rebounding, we get a lot more opportunities.
Right. Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. How about Hummerkaus?
If he stays out of the corner, which he's heard me tell him numerous times now for the last 6-8 weeks, Ben's a shooter. You know, I know sometimes he tries to play the old good Marcus the Mass booty ball.
Yes.
And I think
he's not, no offense to him, but
he can do that when he's got a 6'4", 6'5" guy on him because you're not going to block his shot. He's a spot-up shooter. And the problem is a lot of times with our offense, with Kylan and them going so fast, if he's not spotting ready, he rushes it, and he shoots a lot of, I call it air balls. But he just, you know, you take that Maryland game in the first half, you looked, and Ben was guarding the 5 guy a lot. Well, he's never did that in his life.
Yeah.
Except maybe high school because he was the tallest kid on his team.
Right.
So sometimes I think he shouldn't be guarding some of the guys, but he's your 3-point shooter. You shoot it.
Yeah. I feel like he's, just inconsistent. But I feel like the whole team's kind of been like that. Okay, last year, me and my son Stevie went to a game. DGL got in and played like 6 or 7 minutes, and Stevie's like, "That's my guy." And I wanted to be like, he's probably going to transfer, but then he didn't. So now he still likes him. But so that's the next guy we'll talk about. That's how do you think he's doing?
He's accepted his role.
Yeah.
You know, he might be the most athletic kid on the team. He jumps out of the gym. He can defend. He's been in Brad's system now a couple years, you know. He's accepted his role. I like what he's doing because if he's not making his threes, he's been these last 3 or 4 games, he's really driving to the hole. Mm-hmm. And you've never seen him do that, which now is going to open up the jump shot for him. But he's one kid that finally says, I know what my role is. I'm going to play 9 minutes to 19 minutes, and I need to produce, and he has been.
Right. Okay, Marez Johnson.
I love that kid. He would be. I would love him being at the 4, Deon at the 5, and play with those 2 big guys.
Yeah.
I love everything about him. He's so strong. He every time there's a shot taken, Marez thinks I'm gonna go get the rebound, and I have no problem him running through somebody to go get and get a foul like that. I'd rather him do that than reaching in.
Yeah.
He's eventually going to have to develop a little 6 to 8 foot jump shot that if I'm posting up and I got a face up, he needs to hit that.
Right.
He's starting to make his free throws a little better. Early on, I'm thinking, you're not playing the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game because I foul you.
Yeah.
And now he's starting to make them. So, and today, if he stays out of foul trouble, which I know they got some, I don't know, some rocket scientists that'll play, you know, the 5 spot today. That's obvious.
Right.
But he should stay out of foul trouble, and he's going to play 28, 30 minutes, and he should be able to get his 15 and 10 today.
Right. Yeah, hopefully. All right, so I guess with this group, what are you thinking? I mean, to me, it's kind of, but like the floor and the ceiling for this group, what do you think they can? It's a pretty big.
I'd hate saying it, but once everybody gets done with this flu bug, and let's just say everybody stays healthy, this is a Final Four team. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
The Alabama beat them.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe because of matchups, and I think we learned a lot when we lost at Northwestern. Then a week later we lost at home. It just seemed like KJ turned for the good. He went up a couple levels. Everybody went up a couple levels. And I mean, we can say, oh yeah, we got beat by USC. We didn't have a full team, you know. But yeah, but
right.
This team gets healthy. I'll probably say I would be disappointed if we're not in the Final Four.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to start hammering with some questions here.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Wait a second.
This year's, these are all just pop in my head. I didn't even like write anything down for today. I just went, let's say this squad against last year's squad. How do you think they match up? Who do you think is going to guard who, and how do you think they match up and all that stuff?
Man, that's last year's squad. I think had a lot more talent. I don't think there's anybody on this year's team that could guard little TJ.
Yeah.
And for everybody listening, that's Terrence Shannon Jr. I call him little TJ because I'm big TJ. So nobody can stop him.
Notice he said big and little. He didn't say old and young. He said big and little.
Yeah. He knows that. I've told him that numerous times. He's little T. Nobody was going to stop. Hell, nobody in college basketball stopped him last year.
Nobody in the G League can stop him either.
Yeah, so, I mean, if he had a bad game, he stopped himself.
Yeah.
I think the main difference is our two guards with KJ and Kylan playing, and you had Ty and Marcus as your 1-2. These 1-2, I would put top 3 in the country right now as your 1-2s. Bigs, I like our big compared to the little clown crybaby that went to K-State. Thank God he's nowhere around. So yeah, you know what? Since you just brought that up,
I don't know who he's talking about, but
yeah, this team wins because of that clown time, and I want nothing to do with him. So they lose.
He had I had you on, and then like about a month later, he had my buddies sent me this thing on Instagram, and he had this. I don't know what was it, a Ferrari or something? He showed or a Lamborghini or something. He had bought some sort of very like a sports car. And he had like a Instagram thing that was like showing it real slow, and I want to say it was a Ferrari, but I'm not.
See, that's the problem with college athletics. That kid is stealing from Kansas State right now, like a thief, and he is sitting back laughing at me right now because I'm going to work until I'm 70, and this kid is making, if reported, $2 million plus.
Yes.
And doing what? K-State's like 8-13, and he's averaging like 6.
Yeah,
I'm a thief. Yeah. I'm the biggest convict in college basketball.
I know. Well, and
he still cries. I watched him a couple nights ago, and he drove in, and someone knocked off his leg, and he told the ref. He said, "I'm like, God, that made my night watching that." I'm like, still biggest crybaby in college, but he's a millionaire crybaby. That's the difference,
right? Well, that's what. That's what's so crazy. We were talking about before we actually went on the air, like colleges they're hiring general managers now. It's just, and how you're putting this pressure on 18, 19-year-old kids, and I don't want to say it's a mess, but I just think that
it's a mess.
Things have to get altered quick.
And I think even step aside from basketball, and I just happened to catch this a while ago on ESPN or something. There's 2 or 3 starters from Notre Dame football putting their name in the portal. You guys just had a chance to be the best team in college, and now you want to transfer?
Yeah.
What, because you think you can get more money? And I even saw where the Ohio State wide receiver, which I don't know what his name is because I was cheering for Notre Dame, that if he puts his name in a portal, there's a college team out there that's going to offer $4.5 to $5 million.
Yeah.
Okay, I put my name in the portal because I'm not going to make that type of money until year 3 or 4 in the NFL.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't this kid go somewhere and enjoy life?
Oh, I know. I think that, I've talked, a lot of the guys I have on here, we talk about how we could, and I'm not smart enough to figure out how to fix it, but you got to cap it, and you got to do a thing where, okay, you transfer once, fine, you can play the next year. You try transferring again, you got to sit out a year or something like that, so it doesn't get completely out of control like it is now. But I'm not smart enough to figure out how to cap all that stuff with money and everything. But I mean, you've got to have something to where things start getting regulated a little bit more, in my opinion. But again, I don't know.
I think it's too late now. The problem is the NCAA's let this go on. I mean, you just take Oregon football. Obviously, they bought an unbelievable team.
Yeah.
With Phil Knight 3 blocks away from your campus, it makes a couple dollars on the night.
Yes.
Ohio State bought their team.
Yeah.
And I think it's past. I hate that a kid like the Ohio State wide receiver that might leave and go make 4.5 or 5 million somewhere else, but I can't knock the kid down.
Right.
If that was my son,
yeah.
Hell, son, we're signing tomorrow. Go down.
Yeah.
So
if it's the University of Alaska, we're going.
Like the number 1 player in the country, as a senior, that signed at BYU for basketball.
Yeah.
Why, son? Well, they offered me 6.5. Good decision on your part. Let's go.
Yeah.
You're never going to win a game, but
Yeah.
You don't have to when you're a millionaire.
But the problem is what messes that up, because Terrence Shannon is a good example.
Oh.
He's a stud, and they've sent him down to G League twice. He played like 3 games down there, and he got like 34, 37. I don't know. He was averaging over like 35 a game.
One of the games
over like
he got
4
almost
games.
50. One of the games he had 47 or 48.
But so tell me he's not good enough to be playing for the Timberwolves. But they traded for DiVincenzo, I like him, but he makes, it's all about money. Like, that guy makes $15 million a year, so of course he's going to get to play. And meanwhile, Terrence Shannon's is more than capable of being a good NBA player.
After the draft, and they traded that Karl Anthony Towns and the Knicks, and then we got, the Timberwolves got that killed Terrence.
Right.
That hurt him bad. I would hope his agent right now is working with other teams on the side, because he could be playing for 19 other NBA teams, 20 minutes a game.
Yes.
He's a man. I mean, his last couple years in college, I always told people he was like a man playing with kids.
Oh, yeah.
And so he's ready now. I know he hurt his ankle, so he's been out 10 days or so. He's ready now.
Which sucks, because DiVincenzo got hurt too. And that was his chance right there to start getting more playing time.
And he's got to get with the team, and he's playing behind Anthony Edwards, who's one of the top 5
and by the way,
in the league.
He's older than Anthony Edwards, by the way. You know
that's the scary
crazy.
part.
Anthony Edwards like his 5th year in the league, and Terrence is 24.
Well, Terrence has made his last couple years at Illinois. Hell, they might be making close to the same amount of money.
Yeah.
So he's going to have to get with the right team. Playing behind, I thought he would play with Anthony Edwards.
Me too. That's what
now kind of playing behind him is.
Yeah.
I need to get with the right team.
Right, I agree. All right, so let's get back to some of these guys. Yeah. All right, so let's take this year's team. How about if they're playing the 0-1 team that get made to the Final 8? So you got Frankie, you got Marcus Griffin, you got
that's a good one
Cook.
there. Cook and them. My boy Arch.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting with matchups, because that 0-1 team was so much bigger with Lucas Johnson, and to be honest, there's nobody on this team that could stop Frankie Williams.
Yeah.
And they don't have a shooter like Corey Bradford.
Do you feel like Frankie kind of gets, not forgotten by any means, but just a little bit underrated, because I'm not sure why, really. I mean, hell, he's Big Ten Player of the Year and everything, but for some reason, I don't know if it's because like Darren and D, like a few years later, were so good that they could maybe forget about Frankie.
Everybody wanted Frankie probably to score more, and Frankie, wasn't going to average 25 points a game. That just wasn't his style. He was going to, he got your assist. He could defend. He could score when he wanted to. But, everybody wants all this recognition, because they think the guy that scores the most should get all the recognition, and not someone like Frankie that led a team. That 0-1 team, you look at size and stuff, this team now wasn't going to match up with them. But the style of game that's played today, up and down, this team would beat a lot of people. I don't think they beat the 89 team. To me, the 89 team is still the best team probably to come through that university.
Yeah. We should tell these folks here, when you were on before, you gave me a really, really good Lou story. And so, if you'd like to, remember you ran him over.
Yeah, which one?
Well, you tell me. You can tell however many you want to tell, but the one that you were told the last time is when you ran him over.
Oh my God. I don't want to say I picked on Coach, but as much as I got yelled at from them, I always did stuff right back at him. And besides, I'll tell the one story where I caught him good one day in practice. But I always used to love when we were on the road, and I'd be in the hotel, and we would all get on the elevator, and Coach would be waving like he's coming. And I'd be like, all right, come on, Coach, come on. And then he got right here, close door. And then we're closing. And then we'd go up, and I was just praying that Coach wouldn't remember that I closed the door right on him. But it was my senior year, and I would start at the 3 spot, but when we were practicing, I was always on the second 5, because I was the backup point behind Kiwan. These are questions that I would love for Coach. It's too late for him to answer now, but when I meet him again, answer that we always would play to 11. Never figured out why Coach just wanted to play to 11. But if you got a steal, or a rebound, you could go.
Yeah.
Well, my 5 was always like me, Tommy, Michael, Rob Bennett. We had enough on there that's been in the system 3 or 4 years. We could beat the starting 5. So then my mouth started talking.
Yeah.
But Coach had a bad habit. You got the top of the key and half court. Coach would want to stand right in the middle of that. And I guess he was thinking the starting 5 was going to score. Well, one time it didn't, and I was guarding key one. I was probably about the free throw line, and I was looking over my shoulder to the right, and throw the ball, and all of a sudden I remember hitting somebody. And I ran through him, and then they threw the ball to me. I caught it, made it, and I look, and Coach had went from about one side of the floor to the other side of the floor, flipped over. My man, that Lou dude kind of moved, and I'm thinking, well, I'm never going to play again. So I ran over and stood with all the walk-ons, trying to hide.
Trying to blend in, yeah.
And once he gathered himself about the other side of the top of the key, he turned, and Coach always had his finger out. And all I heard him say was, "Hey, where is he at?" And I'm like, oh, that's me. And then I walk out there and, "Hey, TJ, you got to stop and look where you're going." And he got so mad at me. He said, "I'm taking those 2 points away." Well, then that's when I went nuts. I'm like, "You're not taking, we are, And then after that, every foul was called against my team by Coach. And then the crazy part was, I think we were playing Northwestern in a couple days, and we always had to walk down the tunnel to get our bags from our locker room, pack my shoes up, put them in with my uniform.
Thank you.
So I do that. Rod Cardinal, our trainer, tells me, "T, you can just leave your shoes and bag in the locker room." I'm like, "Look, man, I went to class today. What's the problem?"
Yeah.
No, he said, "Coach came down for a treatment 3 times so far." I'm like, oh, my God. So he's just joking, but I take my bag up there, and we get on the bus to go to Northwestern, and the first 2 people I see is Mary and Coach Henson. And Mary, being as sweet as she is, just grabs my hand. "Did you run over Lou yesterday?" And I'm thinking, just made me feel guilty.
Yeah, all right.
And I'm like, I'm not saying nothing. So I kept going. And then, of course, Lauren Tater's, I'm like, "Hey, her coach took a charge on you." And I finally just told the guys in the back, like, "Hell, I'm not playing, guys. Rod wasn't lying. I heard Coach." I got to play, though, but I hit him hard. I got him good.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit more about him. Like, I remember you talking about you'd go in there and he would, like, if you'd go into his office, and he'd have, like, paper out and drawn up plays, like, asking you where you think you should go and all this kind of stuff.
He was, yeah. There was no, I mean, today, they got them fancy boards where you dry erase markers of that. Coach had an old school clipboard where, as a kid, you would pop the little thing and it made noise because it was hitting the wood, and your parents would want to kill you.
Right, yeah.
And it was printer paper, but that's how it was. And then he always had a marker. So every time you went into Coach's office, he had that on his desk, and we had it in every timeout huddle. I mean, he took it everywhere with him. And when you walk in that desk and you would look at him, he would say, "TJ," and he would draw the free throw line. And I was just looking, and he would say, "If you're over here, TJ, you're starting over here today. Who would be your other 4 people?" Now,
at the time, are you thinking, is he testing me, or does he really not know what to do? So he wants me to help him.
Well, now early on, I would do what he would want because I was kind of scared of Coach.
Yeah.
Now, my senior year, every time he did that, I would say, "Oh, that's very good. It doesn't matter to me who you want to start with me. Let's roll." Yeah. And he would just look at me. He would rip it off. Yeah. And he would draw it again. Now, TJ, and he would move me over here to the left side. If you were starting over here, who would be the other 4 starters? I said, "What the hell does it matter if I'm starting? Start whoever you want to roll with me."
Yeah.
And then he would rip it off, and then he would act like he was doing something different, and that was my hint to get out of his office. Yeah. And I left, and then Coach Collins would look at me and shake his head. He goes, "I heard you."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Well, if I'm starting, I ain't worried about everybody else. Tell everybody else to work harder. I'm starting. Coach had me in the lineup."
That's right. I'm in there busting into Kawan Garris and Jerry Hester's apartment at 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Overall, though, a lot of people I've talked to, like, around older, like, talk about Coach Collins, too. and we've talked about all your recruiting stuff on that last pod from the summer, and I'm going to put that back out. But as far as your recruiting and stuff like that, maybe tell these people, like, you know, like I remember you told me about when you went to Minnesota and what they did for you.
Minnesota was a great visit.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, that was like, I think that was my first visit. You know, they brought you off the plane, picked you up in a big old car, and one of them had like an old school, the cell phone that, like, they had on Saved by the Bell, you know, one of them.
Zach Morris in his locker.
One of them big old cell. I'm like, yeah, let me call somebody, you know.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you walked out to the arena and they had a video and the announcer saying my name, TJ Wheeler just scored, you know, in the locker room. It was a 44 jersey, size 13 shoes, your name on it. I mean, I'm like, I called my dad. I'm like, I'm signing in Minnesota. He's like, no, you got 4 more visits. I'm like, they got me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that. I'm like, they won me over. Michigan State was beautiful. They had just got the new facility, new practice. I'm like, I called Dad. I'm signing Michigan. No, you're not. You know, everywhere I kind of went, it was like, I'm signing here.
Yeah.
And then I come to Illinois. It was probably the worst visit of the 4.
Yeah.
Got the rooms messed up. I mean, it was. But I think always deep down, I knew that I wanted to be an Illini.
Yeah.
I'll never forget Coach Nagy in the fall stopped by unofficially. Back then, he wasn't supposed to be nowhere around.
There were lots of air quotes back then.
Yeah, you know, unofficial in the side room when I went in there, and he was good. He just said, "Hey, where you at?" You know, I said, "Look, I'm telling you right now, I'm 100% going to be a Fighting Illini."
Yeah.
But I busted my tail for the last 18 years. I'm taking my 4 visits, and you're number 5. They're going to wine and dine me, but I've earned this.
Right, yeah.
And he goes, nope, I just want to know I'm done recruiting everybody else. I said, I'm signing on my visit, but I'm taking these other 4. I'm going to Stanford and watch number 1 Notre Dame football.
Right.
And got a sunburn on the way home. And I'm like, I'm going there.
Yeah.
Because that's what I scheduled.
Yeah.
And that was the best part. Like my dad, when I said these are the ones I'm scheduling, you know, when I was at Minnesota, I watched number 2 Nebraska. Michigan State played like number 3 Michigan. At Stanford was number 1 Notre Dame. I looked at all the football schedules because I knew I was going. I didn't matter. I'm like, I'm not gonna go watch you win 99-0.
Right.
I'm gonna watch it good. I'm watching one of the great teams.
Yeah.
Granted, I remember Nebraska won like 63-0 at Minnesota, but it was still number 2 Nebraska.
Yeah. Yeah.
When football was good.
Right. Absolutely. So with your recruiting and everything, like I always ask, like. One thing I was going to say with Marcus Liberty. Okay. I just had him on the podcast, which is it's on all of the major podcast formats, whatever. It's Heath Barn Hoopcast if you guys want to look it up. But I'll give away one little nugget from that one. He was talking, and he went out to Syracuse, and Jim Boeheim had him in his office, and he was like, "You're going to go to Illinois, and you're going to do this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen." And he was just like, I look back out now, and he was right with all of it. He was like, I had to have my back to the basket. He's like, but I went to a club with Derek Coleman and the DJ there's like, and Derek Coleman told the DJ to be like, hey, and like the number 1 recruit in the country's here, like announce it over, you know, so everybody's woo. And so he goes in there and he verbally committed to them before he got on the plane. And Sonny Cox, you know, got a hold of him like, get back here and do not sign anything, you know. So he was like verbally committed to Syracuse before he even went, you know, because just like you said, he went there and they wined and dined him and he was like, I'm going, you know. And then like his coach at King was like, get back here now and do not sign anything. And, you know, so there you go. But it's just funny how kids, if you're out there by yourself, man, and everybody, you feel wanted, and it's just like, you want to go to every college, I'm sure, you know, whenever you're getting recruited.
And they should have treated him a little different. I mean, he was the number. That's why I always tell people, I said, you can look back and see all these rankings now, but I'm like, Marcus Liberty was the number 1 player in the country.
Yeah, he was a beast, yeah.
He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. You know, that's why I'll never forget telling my dad when I was like a freshman, I looked at him one time and said, I'm going to throw a lob to him one day.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah. And then he was like, I'll be an astronaut one day, you know, one of those type things. But I'm like, I remember seeing something about Marcus at Chicago King. And then I'll never forget one of the first times playing with him, I threw that lob, but I threw that damn thing like over the backboard, everything.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and says, T, you got to get it down a little bit. And I'm thinking, Man, I saw them highlights 3 or 4 years ago. You could have got your ass up there and got it. Don't blame this on me.
Right.
And then I'm like, I'll try it. And then I remember I did, and I called Dad that night. I'm like, man, I threw actually 2 lobs. The first one Marcus couldn't get. But I said, but that was just growing up in a little town of 500 people.
Right.
I couldn't wait to play with Marcus Liberty. I'm like, that's my goal. I'm like,
yeah.
I want to throw a lob to Marcus Liberty.
Yeah. I think that when you talk to some of those older guys, they all end up loving Lou, but there was definitely some frustration there because Marcus just felt like, he's like, Jim Boeheim was exactly right because he said, you're going to go to Illinois and Lou's going to make you play with your back to the basket. He's like, you come here, I'll let you be a guard. You can do it because in high school could play with his back to the basket a little bit, but he also was a guard. And he was like, he was right, man. Everything he said was right. I just had to. But, I think that just with that group, it almost felt like the court was too small for him. I mean, they're just so fast and jump so high. It's almost like they were. And then everybody says that he turned them into robots, but they also averaged like 86 points a game. So it's kind of like
you don't get to the Final Four being a robot.
Right, exactly, yeah. But I think that, but that was an interesting one with talking to Marcus about Coach Henson and everything. But overall, though, speaking of Coach Henson, your overall thoughts on him, though, like we've told a couple stories, but
I can say to this day, I got to play for a Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of people that can say that.
Right.
And it's, just even the last football game we were at, somehow we ended up in a suite where Mary was at, and we walked all the way down to her. I mean, I would do anything for Mary Henson and the family right now. It was just, they're unbelievable people. But I mean, I can always say that I played for a Hall of Fame coach.
Right. Absolutely. Okay, here's this little game we're gonna do. I want to revisit it here. Okay, I'm just gonna name a guy that's on our roster right now, and you're gonna tell me if he's on the team next year.
Oh boy.
Okay, and then we'll see. I feel like a FanDuel sportsbook here. Like I need to do over under. We need over under. Okay.
This is a yes or no.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start.
Coleman Hawkins. No. Okay. I just wanted to get practice in.
The thing that I enjoyed the most about that first time you were on talking about him, I was like, I couldn't possibly agree more. So I was just like, yes, okay, good.
It's the best
not
part
everybody's
with him,
like that, but
the best part with him last year, we were out eating somewhere, and how the News Gazette they did a bunch of articles, and this Jeff sent me a message. I need one word to describe Coleman Hawkins. And then I sent him a couple, and he goes, obviously I can't print that. And then I'm like, I don't know if I have one. And then I'm sitting there thinking, I'm just
dramatic.
I'm just going with crybaby.
Yeah.
And he goes, okay. And then it comes out, and I get 100 text messages. 90 of them are, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. And then 10 of them are former players like, I wish I had, what to say that. I'm like, well, I'm just being honest. I have not liked him for 4 years.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want him as a teammate. He's a crybaby.
All right.
So, okay, go with your players.
Okay. Well, this one's pretty. Okay, so yes or no on the squad next year, KJ?
Okay, Skip.
Okay.
Just like the price.
Come back to it. Yeah. Is Boswell on the team next year?
Yes.
Okay, I agree with that. Is Trey White on the team next year?
Yes.
Okay. Is Marez Johnson on the team next year?
Yes, I hope so. Yes.
Yeah, I hope so too. But I feel like that one's flip a coin.
No, he's coming back.
Okay. Tomislav.
No, I really hope so. Yes.
Okay.
He's gotten. I know. It's either I'm at Illinois or I go back home and play and get paid. I don't think he's NBA ready, so that's why I think he's at Illinois.
I think eventually he'll be NBA ready. But he's
better than his brother at Arkansas.
You were talking about him. That's what's funny is his brother got all that pub from last year, and he
killed him.
Killed his brother,
But he's playing for Calipari, and
don't we all have a brother we'd like to kill? Just kidding. Maybe that's just me. Sorry, but okay. So, but like, I feel like, and he should be a freshman, really, with his age and everything. So yeah, I think he's got a good.
What's it? How you say his name again?
Tomislav Ivisic. Am I saying it wrong? Ivisic, right? Tomislav Ivisic. Yeah. Okay. Good. I'm always self-conscious about that when I start.
I don't.
Am I say that?
I just say big fella.
Yeah. Well, I say
big fella goes a lot easier.
I say
big fella.
I say KJ because I don't want to mess up. Kasparis Jakachonis.
KJ.
Yes, but still, I'd rather just say
And big fella.
KJ and big fella. All right. Well, Hammercast will be gone because he's a senior. Who is? I think DGL. DGL. Will he be here next year?
Who?
Dre Gibbs Longhorn.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a Illini. He understands. Yeah, he's here.
Okay. Ty Rogers.
I truly believe he is. Yes.
Okay. Now I will say this: go back like a year. Right now, did you think Sincere Harris was going to be on the team this year?
I was hoping he wasn't, so I'm happy that he's wherever he's at. So.
I'm just saying I feel like it's the same. Okay, yeah.
The bad part, out of those guys, I really think these last couple weeks we would have seen how important Dane Danger was to our team.
I agree.
That was, of all the transfers, I support him. I would have helped him pack and leave. Y'all go, I'll help you. Dane Danger one that hurts me, man, because I was a fan.
I agree.
God, he has some post moves. I think he has the best footwork in the game today.
Yeah.
So, and obviously you see with Big Fella missing, and then Morez, we don't have nobody else.
Yeah.
We would be unbelievable with Dane Danger on our team right now. And I hate cheering against Memphis because I played against Penny Hardaway, but I kind of like, well, I want you to lose more because then you'd feel guilty leaving us.
Right. I'm mean-spirited too. Like if somebody leaves, I hope they kind of fail.
Yeah,
I know that's like, mean. I don't mean like fail, but you know what I mean. It's like
like going to Indiana and being up by 80
fan.
Was pleasure. I mean, and then what Big Fella did to Luke Goody at the end, I'm like, oh man, you got a new fan in me. I love that. Go get right in his face.
I was going to ask you that. What did you think about all that?
I was just knocking right on his ass. I mean, it would have been perfect.
Yeah. I felt like it's fine. I found that pretty interesting. That big kid from Indiana is like, "What are you doing? Like,
he's terrible."
When
you're in terrible, you do stuff like that.
Right? He's just. Let me think here. Whenever Danger,
I miss him.
I just felt like. Last year, early in the year, I was like, he's definitely going to transfer. And then he got more playing time, was starting to get rolling there towards the end. I'm like, well, maybe he'll stay. But, and he's doing good. I don't even think he starts for them, but he's averaging like 11 and a half a game.
He did early. Now he's still getting 25, 26. Would he get that here? No.
Yeah, he wouldn't.
But I was still like, big man, stay here and get you 16.
Right.
To me, that hurts us.
Post depth is a little bit of an issue.
That hurts us.
Yeah.
And we got the tall, skinny white kid at the end. He ain't ready, though.
Yes.
I don't know what his name is.
I can't remember his name either.
Yeah, that kid.
We'll call him Skinny Fella.
Skinny white kid again.
Will? Terry Booth? Oh,
No,
Will Riley?
that's another. No, I forgot about Will Riley. I forgot about him.
I haven't.
Okay, what are your thoughts? Okay,
he's like 3 more
Thank you
years.
for bringing him up. I forgot to mention him earlier. What do you think about him?
Thank you. Is he coming back next year? I don't know, but does he need to come back? Yes.
Yes.
He should. When he leaves here in 2 years, Adam Fletcher's daughter should be calling him Uncle Willie because he should be spending so much time with Fletcher. It makes you sick.
Yes.
And this is what sums it up: is at Northwestern, I'll never forget in the second half he went baseline. And instead of going up on 2 or 3 guys and trying to dunk on them, he tried to go under the backboard, throw up a reverse layup. The damn near went over the backboard, and I'm like, son, you're not ready for the Big Ten, because in the Big Ten, people go up and dunk on people like that.
Yeah. Or you get fouled and you make your free throws.
Yeah.
You don't.
And
go
he didn't. And even everybody said, look what he did at Michigan State. Okay, great, but look what Alabama did to him. Look what some of these other teams making adjustments. They body him.
Yeah.
And is he a first-round pick? On potential, probably.
A year from now, I think.
But I would tell
now.
him, why do you think you can go to the NBA now when Terrence Shannon Jr. is sitting on a bench?
Yeah,
and you can't. I would let you carry his bag to the bus.
Right.
You're not close to him. So there would be my comparison. Now, can he leave after a sophomore year and go make millions? Yes.
Right.
But does he need to come back? He needs to live with the Fletcher family.
Right. I think he needs another year of college. I just hope that it's here,
I don't, but probably what they paid him, he ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. Yes, Will Riley, that was a good one. And all right, well, let's see here. Is there anybody out there, any of you guys, that want to ask TJ a specific question? I know my son. Come here, big boy.
No. Watch yourself.
This is my son, Stevie.
You know you're going to be in arm's
second grader.
Distance. I will get you. Oh, yeah, Jake Davis. He needs a haircut.
Yeah.
Ponytail guy,
Yes. I think that
I'm jealous. Obviously, I'm jealous. Little dude he grows it a little better.
Mine looks exactly like that, except a little shorter. But
I can grow the back out. I can grow it all.
Okay, Jake Davis. I thought about bringing him up, but I mean, I feel like good role player, but I don't see any reason for him to leave.
He's not going nowhere, but I think he's starting to get better every game, and that's what you want. And let's go back to Will Riley. This is why I would tell you, I watch games too close. And my wife just said, in Missouri game, Trey fouls out.
Yeah.
And it's towards the end where I think they're at the free throw line, and we got to get the rebound. Brad puts in Jake Davis over Will Riley. Mm-hmm. And that tells me you got to get bigger and stronger. Jake's already there. I'm putting him in.
Right.
And
Jake's not going to try to do too much.
No. And that would tell me if I'm Will Riley, I know I need another year, at least one more year of college basketball. And like I said, I watched games way too close. It probably wasn't fair to my son because there was nights that he come home and I made him cry in the kitchen. And but I watched this and she hears my mouth. Like we go back watch the Northwestern game. If they do something wrong in 10 minutes, I'm like, turn it. I'm done. I'm going outside. And she knows why. And I finally told Deon a couple days ago, tell Brad and Orlando and those guys I'm stopping by practice. I'm going to give them my 3 cents and tell them they can tell me to leave.
Yeah. Speaking of Deon, the first episode of this podcast I did was with Deon, and it's a really good episode if you guys want to listen to it. But one thing I told TJ, I'm like, I wish I would have asked him if Fletcher would have been your strength and conditioning coach, would you have been a lottery pick? That's what I wanted to ask Deon because he talked about not lifting enough and all that when he was in college. And Fletcher obviously makes you get in the weight room. So I asked TJ, I'm like, would he have been a lottery pick?
No, I don't know. I don't think he's not a lottery pick with Fletch because we had a good strength coach. Hell, I was strong.
Yeah.
He had no work ethic. Now, there's a major difference between having a work ethic and working out with, Fletch. Mm-hmm. I think Deon I didn't see him one summer.
Yeah.
And obviously he didn't lift because he came back. And I'm like, and he ate La Bambas from
which is a wonderful lunch
and
place.
dinner Monday through Saturday. I mean, he had 14, 15 a week. I'm like, well, you fat, you know what? I didn't see him one summer. You know, he said, oh, my wrist was hurt. I'm like, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah.
So if he had a work ethic, he would have been a lottery pick.
Yeah. And he admitted that to me on there. He said he wished he would have,
Yeah.
But, I don't know. So for some reason, I just thought that was kind of good because we've had a lot of guys that have been picked between 24, 25, 26, 27, in the first round. A lot of guys like Cook, Battle, Luther, Frankie, Deon, all of them. So it's not except for Darren and Kendall Gill and Nick Anderson, but a lot of guys just right around there at the end of that first round, that
it's like they were close.
Things could have went.
They were close.
Things could have went, and obviously, Cook and Luther had played in the NBA for a while, everything like that. But just a lot of guys like that. All right, come here, buddy.
Oh boy, watch yourself.
Okay, ready?
What's your favorite Illinois player right now?
Ooh, man. Oh, that's boy. I would probably tell you I'm a Kylan Boswell fan.
Yeah.
I like everything about him. The way I just and I'm saying that because I would want to be him. I would want to be right beside him, and that's how I would say that's my favorite player. Number 2 would probably be Merez. I love him. But number one, I would want to be a teammate of Kylan Boswell. I think he's an unbelievable teammate. I think he's an unbelievable player. And
Hard-nosed.
He just looks like he's a great kid off the floor, too. So if we were rolling together, I would make him do all the public stuff. Kind of like what I did in college. I made Tommy Michaels go do all the public stuff because I probably wasn't the best role model.
Tell them who your favorite is right now.
I like Dre Gibbs Lawhorn.
See,
now.
you're stuck on him from a year ago, though. See, that's your favorite.
I'm gonna try to stop my son here real quick. Take Dre Gibbs Lawhorn out of the mix. Who's your favorite one?
I like Marez Johnson.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay.
I do too. I was hoping that Maryland game he'd kind of, give us a little more.
That's different though because their center's been in the Big Ten for 4 years. That's Marez's first start, and it's a different. The Big Ten is different. I still say it's the best conference. Now we've added another 37 teams to it. So
the Big 20. Or whatever.
Yeah, it's I can't wait. I know we said earlier beating the hell out of Indiana because Luke Goody's there. I mean, I can't wait for us to go to UCLA and Kylan Boswell just completely shut down Sky Clark.
Right. Yes.
I cannot wait for it to happen.
Yes. Do you remember Sky Clark from a couple years ago? He was number 55, and when he was in kindergarten, but we went and he liked him, and then that's why I think that for little kids, it's like when we were little, you'd get hooked on these guys because they'd be there minimum of 3 years, so you'd get their jersey and everything. Like now, I'm trying to explain to him, it's like year to year, you just gotta kind of, you can't.
And I was a Sky Clark fan. The way he started, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna like this kid, and then I'm gonna like, and then all of a sudden he left. I'm like, well, I don't like you no more.
Right. Well, and he hasn't done much.
No, he's not. In Louisville,
he's on his third college now.
He's he'll go somewhere next year. I mean, he's one of them that like you said, you got to have a punishment or something. He's going to go to 4 colleges in 4 years.
Right. A name just popped in my head thinking about him. What did you think about several years ago, Curbelo?
You said his right name. I think I've always called him Cablanco because I didn't know what his name was.
It's Curbelo.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kerblanco. No, it's not right. It's not right.
When he wanted to transfer, I was praying his running mate Hawkins went with him. I couldn't stand him, that was a horrible two to bring in together for me. And one of our buddies always sends us text messages where Cablanco gets kicked out of the game again. I mean, the kid just needs to give it up, get a haircut, get a job, put a tie on, and go to work. He's done.
You gotta give me your real thoughts next time. But you gotta quit sugarcoating stuff. Okay, no, I think he's with.
Is it like Central Florida or
he's on at least his third. That he's in a good example of why you transfer once, fine. You transfer twice. You gotta sit out a year. You can't just. Now, having said all that, we wouldn't have had Gary because we were his third college, and I
liked that kid last year. He was nice.
Yes, he's in the G League with Toronto.
Don't say that was a good example. Cablanco's a terrible example for anything.
Well, I know, but I mean, just like bouncing around.
It's like we wasted a scholarship.
Yeah.
Twice. 2 years.
Yeah.
Did we only have him 2 years? Right?
Yes, and the second year wasn't.
It was horrible. He said his head hurt or something like that most of the year.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. And the reason why he was
respectable, we had Kofi, so he could pass. You couldn't miss Kofi.
Yes. Well, so as far as
was terrible.
Yeah, Underwood's
terrible.
A little bit better. We haven't talked about Underwood at all. Like his he's had to adjust his style obviously from like having Kofi, and then like this year we're just a lot of threes up and down. So, how hard do you think that is for him to do that? And then do you think his in-game strategy?
Oh, he can't ask those questions. I don't get paid $5.4 million like he does. He's
takes
been
a lot to
good to where he changes his offense up to where the kids he has. Like what we see now is more NBA ready type offense.
Yes,
because you got it with KJ, you got it with the big fella. You got it with people that's probably going to be in the league, hopefully Will Riley in 2 to 3 years. So he puts in the pick and roll, he puts in a lot of NBA type style offense because that's what he's got with this team.
Right.
Compared to a couple years ago, It could have just been a high-low.
Right.
I mean,
So,
Kofi's 7 feet, 290. Get out of his way. He's going to turn and hurt you.
He does a good job of adjusting to just the group he's got. It's not like, okay, this is my system. You have to adjust to me. Like, you know, when you're bringing in, you got a Kofi down there, kind of like almost like a Shaq sitch, and then you go to this, what it is now. So you have to respect the fact that he can adjust to multiple styles and everything.
And a couple of years prior to that, you had no choice but to play at a high pace, because if not, you killed little Terrence.
Yeah.
You killed little T. We had to score 90 for him to excel.
Right.
And we did. So they understand that. This team can get up and down the court, but not like last year's team needed to get up and down the court.
Right. Yeah. Well,
without Crybaby. We could have won more than that.
So we're not gonna. Are you saying I shouldn't try to get Corbello or Coleman Hawkins on the pod? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Like,
Please
those two are out.
Please do. Then have an open phone call conversation where.
Here's what I'll do.
And I won't even be anonymous. I will say my name and years.
I'm gonna make it like a Jerry Springer, and I'm gonna have you on, and I'm gonna have them behind the curtain, like they're not gonna know. You're not gonna know they're coming in. Like, come on out, Then just.
And we'll go back. The first one that gets hit with a chair. It won't matter to me. That was. And I hate cheering against, but it just cracks me up. When K-State loses, I laugh. When Indiana loses, I laugh. I'm like, well, y'all class transferred.
Yeah.
It's just...
Right.
The only one I miss is Dane Danger. The other dudes that went to West Virginia with Chester, good for them. Chester, if you got closer to home, good for you. Great for you. Those two guys.
That Amani Hansberry's.
He was starting, and now he's coming off the bench.
Is he? Yeah.
The one I miss is Dane Danger.
Yeah.
He could be our serious missing piece from this year's team.
Yeah. All right. Well,
there's probably NCAA rules. He can come back and he can probably be eligible immediately. We just don't know about it.
Yeah. I think you can play to your 35 now. I'm pretty sure it's the rule. All right. Well, yeah. Is anybody else? Oh, yeah. Anybody have any questions? If you do, sure, yeah. Hang on a second. You may have to come up here if that's all right, just because
I'll just say it real loud.
I'm all thumbs with these mics. I don't want to tear up some. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Who drew up the play February 5th, 1993, for you to get that to Kaufman?
And the original idea was for me to try to throw it to Deon, kind of in the paint area, and let him turn. I'm like, yeah, we tried that a couple years ago, and baby Allen Iverson dribbled it off his foot, and the kid got it and went down and scored. No, I don't like that idea. So I remember the horn going off, and I said something to Coach Henson and Coach Coombs. Why not do the play we just did for 2 days in practice? And then we were kind of running out of time, and I remember showing Deon and Rob Bennett, like when you're in the backyard playing football, let's run this play. So I'm showing them on my chest. You guys sit here, AK, and Andy knew because Andy wanted to shoot it. Nobody else on the team.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a second.
And I always tell people the difference between Nick's shot and Andy's shot. We were down. We were losing. So we miss, we lose. Nick misses, you go to overtime. So I just remember getting out there. Deon and Rob Bennett got set up. Andy was there. And then I know taking it out, I had AC Earl and this big Webb dude, both like 7 feet. And I'm thinking to myself, hell, 2 days in practice, I had nobody in front of me.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get it there. Now I have 2 7-footers going to run. Well, I remember AC went to the other side, but the Webb guy was still there. And then Coach yelled at Rennie Clemens about setting a pick. I'm like, all right, I can do that. So I remember taking a couple steps to the left. Rennie come and set a pick, so the Webb guy had to go around him. So I was open. And 1 out of 50, it went straight to AK. and you watch them highlights. I mean, AK knocked the kid from the Iowa in the bench. He was so strong. And as soon as Andy released it, he knew it was in. He was running towards us. And
we were there.
Like I said, nobody else wanted to take it. Andy wanted the ball in his hands at the end of the game, and I was just, knock on wood, fortunate enough to hit him right there. I mean, we never ran that play ever again. In 4 years, I ran that play one time. Never ran it again.
There you go.
And why coach decided to put it in 2 days before Iowa?
That's good. Yeah, that's awesome. Anybody else want to ask him anything? Yep.
Yeah, what do you think about officiating just in general and Big Ten in specific?
Better give him another
I got to
one.
finish this Sodi right here. A Big Ten, they're horrible. That game last week,
Yeah.
as I was dropping numerous F-bomb and everything else, and I looked at her and like, now you see why I don't coach, because I would have been kicked out at this point. It's and I think I played with probably some of the better ones at that time. Ed Hightower, all those guys. Yeah.
So you liked it, okay? Because I remember growing up, and my dad. I remember.
Oh, no, I couldn't
remember
stand
hearing
Ed
Hightower and
Hightower. No,
Valentine
he's
a lot,
terrible.
and not in a positive way.
No.
But that's just a fan yell at the TV. But
I just and I know this is terrible to say, but it always feels like every call goes against us, home or away. And I don't know if that's because we're a Illini fan,
I hear you.
It's watching it today. Obviously, they took KJ completely out of the Michigan State game, and they kind of tried to take him out of the Indiana game a little bit.
that Michigan State
with
game.
4
That was
fouls.
like an Augustine against North Carolina thing. Like you played like 9 minutes. How often does a starter play 9
And I
minutes?
know that's terrible to say, but those 3 officials in 05 cost us a national title. James
yeah.
Augustine plays 25 minutes, we win.
Yep. Yeah.
I hate officials. I don't like any of them.
Yeah. It's a thankless job, but still.
I would never. I would sum this up for you right now.
We need to get Quan Garris. Maybe get. Hey, I just had Quan Garris. He's reffing like in Georgia right now, like middle school. So
I'd like to get him on the line and ask him could he make one of the 2 free throws that he missed at Missouri. This would be me if I had to play this afternoon or at 2, and they would do the starting lineups and how everybody hits their coaches now and goes shakes hands with them officials. Yeah. My ass would shake hands with my coaches and turn and look at them and go right back to my team. There's no way I would hit them with knuckles or say a word to them. And I get mad at my son when he was in high school. I'm like, stop doing that, man. They're not your buddies. The other 4 Illini starters could do it. I wouldn't. I would let them know I don't do that. There's not an official. Yeah, there's not an official out there that I would like. Oh, you were really no.
the best ones are the ones that you don't even notice are out there, and that does not happen very often anymore. Doesn't it seem?
And Teddy Valentine was so much about he needed to be the focus, and if he called traveling or a charge, I mean, everybody in the building knew Teddy was on the game, and I'm like,
yeah,
Teddy, don't do that again, man. You know, I didn't like nobody back then.
Yeah.
I don't like nobody now. I don't even know who they are. But.
Yeah. It's just like umpires that throw guys out of the game for no. It's like we're not here to. We didn't pay
I don't even like
our
them
money
either.
to see. We didn't pay our money to see you. You know, like
when the oldest is here, when she was growing up playing travel softball, and the wife was coaching third or whatever. And granted, I'd had a handful of Coach Sodies in me. And we were at some tournament, and all I remember is the wife saying, "Someone get him to the truck right now and get him out," because my mouth was going. I didn't like how the umpire was calling balls and strike because she was a pitcher.
yes, yeah.
So they could hear me, but I had a better view from the third baseline behind the dugout than the umpire did.
She was playing shortstop, so they wouldn't have cared nearly.
No, she was pitching, and my angle for the home plate was a lot better than this umpire. And I let him know, and then the wife said, "Someone get him out." I'm like, "Oh, I better go."
Yeah.
And let's see, it was a handful of Sodies. Yeah, it was in Mattoon. Big Al had that lemonade there, and sometimes I put some extra stuff on top of it.
All right. Anybody else got anything? Good. All right. Well, this has been a lot of fun. I think that I'm scheduled to have another one here March 7th before the Purdue game, and so, but Heath Barn Hoopcast is on all the major podcast formats. But like I said, I had Deon, Bruce Douglas. Those were the first two episodes. And then Michael Finke, and then just had Marcus Liberty, and then TJ and I did it one in the summer, and I'm just going to put that one out again because I was doing just like a regular podcast, and I switched it over to just trying to do like Illinois players. So his will be back out, and that one was a lot of fun. He's good. And Marcus Griffin on there. Jens Kujawa, anybody remember him from Germany? Yes.
Number 54.
Yes, he has been on there. So all those will be coming out. Tony Weisinger had him. So, yeah. So thanks a lot, you guys, for coming in and listening. But and thank you, TJ, for coming in.
Oh. It wasn't like we had a lot planned today.
I literally, normally I'll have a list of questions, and I just thought, hey, we'll just come in here today and talk about the team and just kind of go from there and whatever. So yeah,
and knock on wood, even without big fella, whatever you want to call him,
Tomislav Ivicic.
Yeah, him.
Yeah,
we should still win 10+.
yeah. Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully get back on track. So, all right. Thanks a lot, everybody. All right.